Manny in South Carolina is last. He wants to talk about if it's possible to trade Crowder at the deadline.
Hey Matt, it's Manny. I'm calling from Charleston, South Carolina, and I wanted to touch on uh, both sides of the ball. First, I'll start on offense with the wide receivers. Uh, when you kind of look at it, the wide receiver room is kind of crowded in my opinion. You have Davis, obviously, Crowder, Mims, and you just drafted Elijah Moore. Uh, so I was thinking with Crowder and Moore both being in the slot, do you think possibly during the season at the deadline you could move Crowder? So basically it would be see who's more productive before the deadline, and you're not going to move more. So if Crowder's underperforming, then you could trade him. That's just a thought. I'm not really sure. And then I'll go to the defensive side of the ball with the linebackers. Uh, this isn't really a question, just like a take. I feel like CJ Mosley is gonna come back and he's gonna be really good. Like people forget that he was like top maybe top 8 linebacker just two and a
He's
half
good.
years ago. Even though we may have overpaid for him, he's still here and I think he's still a really good player. Like week 1 in 2019 in that Bills game, he was amazing until that injury. And you rushed him back against the Patriots in 2019, and he was out for the rest of the season. Obviously, he opted out last year, but I just think that he's going to be really, really good for us next year, and the leader of that defense, and he's a veteran, so I also think he might be able to coach up some of the young guys. And, yeah, that's it. And as always, go Jets, and I love the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you bring up two good points here. The first with Crowder, and then we'll get to Mosley in the back half of this. So to me, with Jamison Crowder, I think you keep him on this roster. And if Elijah Moore plays well enough to where you don't necessarily need Crowder and there's not a ton of injuries, then okay. Flip Crowder at the deadline for a mid-round pick and you're good. You're golden. If that's not the case, if there's injuries or if Moore's coming on slow or if Wilson's playing well and the Jets are competing down the stretch, then okay, keep him and let him walk in the offseason. I'm not worried about losing him for nothing in free agency. If you get the extra pick, great. If you help the young development of your quarterback in year 1, also fine. I'm good either way. I don't think it's a crazy take or out of the realm of possibilities to move him. I'm just not, being like, oh, yes, definitely trade Jamison Crowder. There are scenarios where you can move him and it would make sense at the deadline. And there are also reasons to keep him around. So it really depends on how the season's going.